Are you an athlete who tends to want to progress through your rehab quicker because you equate this with being better faster? In this video, I'm going to explain to you why chasing quick gains during rehab could be a real mistake and why it's probably going to keep you sidelined for longer than necessary. I want to introduce to you this concept that I use with a lot of my rehab athletes. In fact, all of my rehab athletes, I explain to them at some stage. And it's the concept of ticking one box per day. So why do I use this concept? This is a concept that I give to athletes because most athletes I see are very driven. They're very emotionally engaged with the training that they do and with the sport that they compete in. And they want to be as good as they possibly can at it. And when you're in this frame of mind, it is like a great frame of mind to be in because you want to care about the thing that you're doing, but it can also bring you undone at times when you get emotionally attached to the outcome during rehab, that you need to get to a certain point by a certain time and you feel like you're just chasing your tail on the regular. And when you start to get emotionally attached to outcomes and you think that you need to get somewhere faster because it's somehow going to lead to quicker or better progress, this is often the reason why you either get re-injured during your rehab phase or you suffer like a major flare-up, which just puts you back quite considerably. And the only thing that really achieves is a loss in confidence, a loss in time, and a loss in training joy. So using this concept of ticking one box, what I mean by this is all you need to do is just tick one box for the day, take that win, and then move on to ticking the next box tomorrow. And this is a really good way to reframe it for athletes because when you're trying to just chase quick improvement and feel like you're getting better quicker, it's often, like I said, going to bring you undone and cause these flare-ups. But when you can reframe it in your mind that I'm just trying to tick this box, and if I tick this box, I've already won, so I don't need to then go and chase more, because it's that chasing more aspect that really people start to come unstuck, and then that's when you hit the wall a little bit. And this brings me to my point of most athletes chase too many boxes at once. Like, you're coming back during your rehab, you're feeling really good, you've ticked this box, but you're like, all right, well, I've ticked that, why can't I just go on and tick the next one? So you go after the next one, and then you're like, oh, well, that felt really good too, I'm just going to go for the next one. You go for the next one, and you're like, oh, that felt great, so I'll go for another, and then you go for another, and it all just falls apart. Something hurts again, you've flared up, your function goes downhill because your body becomes really inflamed, whatever it is that's injured is super sore, and it's just not having a good time. And I have a really good story that shows you exactly what I mean by this from an athlete that I had during rehab, where they were a CrossFit athlete. They were pretty good at it, they were very strong, but they also worked a very heavy labor job. And this person had quite a heavy period at work where they were doing consistent 12-hour days. So fatigue was high, they weren't getting their nutrition in, their sleep was compromised because of the extra time at work and having less time for themselves or with family. And so they've come to the gym this day to train, and performing a relatively heavy deadlift felt a little bit of a pop in the low back. And then after that pop, once their body had calmed down a little bit, they felt like they had this little bit of numbness floating into the butt cheek. And before even seeing me, this person ran to the doctor to go get an MRI, and that MRI comes back showing there's a small disc herniation there, just touching on that nerve. And they were really worried about this, which is quite understandable. But the issue then became more about, well, how can I get this better faster? And it didn't really seem how I explained this to someone or this person, that if you tick just the one box at the time and slowly make your way back, everything's going to be fine. But they wanted their injury to be healed yesterday, so then they could go back and be deadlifting again as heavy as possible. And they just didn't seem to understand this concept of if you just tick one box, take the win and move on, then you're going to be better for it as you recover and get back to doing CrossFit again. The main issue here is that when they were feeling really good, they would just try and tick like multiple boxes within a day, and they ended up suffering multiple really big flare-ups of low back pain during this rehab period, which set them back like a long time, and then they had to slowly work their way back up again. But eventually they got back to full training, pain-free, full mobility, but it was just that process that ended up taking a lot longer than necessary because they tried to tick too many boxes at once and didn't worry about just taking the victory for that day. They wanted more, and it was this chasing more every single time that really brought them undone, like literally 3 or 4 times within a 3-month period. And if they had just taken this approach of ticking one box, taking that win, moving on to the next day, they probably would have got there a little bit quicker. But even though at the time when you're just taking this approach of ticking one box, it feels a lot slower and that you could do more. And the main point I want to make here is that when you are feeling good and capable, that doesn't mean your body is ready to do it. How you feel and how your body, the state of your actual body is, are 2 separate things. And you need to try and remove that emotion and be objective with your rehab. And my athletes, or any athlete who just takes this approach of ticking one box and taking the win and then moving on, these are the ones that are going to be the real winners long term. Because you're not in that mindset of just chasing emotional gains and emotional wins. You're in this mindset of being objective. You're not just trying to see what you're going to be able to achieve on the day. You're literally ticking the box, you're objective about it, you take the data, and then you see the trends over time, and what those trends are saying to you is how you're using that data to progress. You're not just saying, oh, well, I feel good today, I'm going to have a crack at this and see what happens. Sometimes you'll get lucky with that approach and you might be all right, but often you won't be all right. Remember, chasing consistent progression with objective feedback is the real win, and that's what's going to get you to where you want to go without things just blowing up on you. And out of all of these things that I've spoken about in this video so far, the real key mindset shift is what plays a role here. And if you're going to just tick one box, take the win and move on, yes, it can be hard to do that when you're emotionally attached to what you're trying to achieve. And because you care about it, changing your mindset to help this process is really important, and think less about what is it that I can achieve today to something more along the lines of what do I need to do today that's going to allow me to progress and be able to do more tomorrow. And changing your mindset to this is going to allow you to see things through a different lens. You can just tick that box, take the win, and see how that is going to allow you to improve. You're going to start taking things more objectively rather than just emotionally saying, I think I can do this, I'm going to have a go at it, and not worrying about the consequences until they've already happened. So if you are an athlete who wants to chase quick progression because you think that it's going to get you better sooner, I urge you to try and keep this concept of just ticking one box and taking that win at the forefront of your mind. If you are struggling with this concept and with rehab in general, and you're not really sure where to go with it, and you're suffering flare-ups on the regular, I do have a video just here that you can go and watch, and it's going to teach you more about how you can train more without pain and injury flaring up on you.